Ladies and gentlemen, over the March break weekend, TSN has been showing the Black Ice documentary talking about the history and key players and trailblazers for black hockey throughout North America and the world. Now, as a young journalist, I was made aware of this player who I consider top 10 Canadian player of the 1980s. And
compared her to kind of a Wayne Gretzky, Darryl Sittler merge, a good goal scorer, good playmaker, really put Team Canada on the map, and due to politics, was not kept on the first Team Canada Olympic squad 98. I don't know all the details. She more deserved to be there. Of course, we're going to talk about a Hockey Hall of Fame member, Angela James. Now, Angela Diane James, born December 22nd, 64. She played at the highest levels of senior hockey between 1980 and 2000. She was a member of numerous squads in the Central Ontario Women's Hockey League from its founding in 1980 until 98, and finished her career in the prestigious National Women's Hockey League. Now, born in Toronto, December 22nd, 64, she was named her league's most valuable player 6 times. She's also a certified referee in Canada and a head coach. She currently lives in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Internationally, James played in the first Women's World Tournament, an 87 invitational that was unsanctioned. She did play with Team Canada the first sanctioned IIHF World Hockey title event in 1990, setting a scoring record of 11 goals and leading Canada to the gold medal. She played in 3 additional World Championships, winning gold medals in 92, 94, and 97. Again, controversially, she was left out of the team for the first Women's Olympic Hockey Tournament in 98 because, according to organizers, they wanted the team younger. I don't think it was the color of her skin, because it was more the fact they wanted younger players. Now, she played in her final tournament in 1999. Now, again, considered the first superstar of modern women's ice hockey, James has been honored by numerous halls of fame. She was one of the first 3 women inducted to the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame in 2008, and one of the first 2 inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010. She was inducted in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame in 2009 and named to the Order of Canada 2 years ago. Now, as of 2022, she has served as the co-owner and GM of the Toronto Six of the Premier Hockey Federation, as well as senior sports coordinator at her alma mater, Seneca College in Toronto. Now, again, she is the daughter of Donna Barato, a white Canadian from Toronto, and Leo James, a black American from Mississippi who came to Canada to escape racial segregation. She has 2 half-brothers and 2 half-sisters on her mother's side. Her father, who was involved with a Toronto nightclub, estimates she has at least 9 half-siblings by him, though Angela believes the number is close to 15. Among them is National Hockey League player Theo Peckham. A single mother, Donna raised Angela and her 2 half-sisters with the help of government assistance. They lived in a subsidized townhouse in the Flemington Park neighborhood of Toronto. Donna worked as a bookkeeper and at the concession stand of the local arena. She battled depression and mental illness, and her eldest daughter, Cindy, worked 2 part-time jobs at the age of 16 to help the family meet financial obligations. Angela was closest to her sister, Kim, though the 2 often fought as children. Her father never had a consistent place in her life growing up and did not provide financial support for the family, but was available if she needed him. As one of a few black children in Flemington Park, Angela often faced insults, particularly over the fact she was a mixed-race child with a white mother and sisters. She often got into fights over the slurs, forming a combative attitude she carried into the game of hockey. Her paternal grandparents never accepted Angela as a child, though they treated her sisters well. Now, James was a natural athlete, and she said in published reports her interest in sports came early. Her godfather gave her a baseball bat and glove to celebrate their first Holy Communion, and she excelled at hockey, baseball, and synchronized swimming as a young child. Her mother wanted her to focus on swimming due to the lack of opportunities for girls in hockey in the 1970s. Her passion for the sport, however, was there, and she was constantly playing ball hockey with the neighborhood boys from the time she was in kindergarten. She first played organized hockey in the Flemington Park Boys House League at the age of 8, and then only after her mother threatened legal action as officials opposed her inclusion. Of course, the Abby Hoffman case, not the protester but the Olympic athlete, the This is before the charter, by the way. Now, James dominated the Flemington Park League. She started in a novice 78-year-old age group, but her skill level was so much higher than her peers that she was moved up to Adam and then Pee Wee, 11 and 12-year-olds. Thus the Gretzky connection. Now, I heard about Angela James at this level because she was being scouted at an early age for a potential Team Canada for women's hockey at that early. Now, James's participation in the Flemington Park League ended partway through her second year due to jealousy from the parents of the boys in the league. The president's son was on James's team and was particularly offended that his boy was being overshadowed by a girl. He ordered a change in the league's policy to forbid girls from playing. The only feasible option James had for a girls' league was Annunciation, a Catholic organization in Don Mills. Lacking a vehicle to drive to the games, her mother would take her to and from games at various rinks via the bus. The girls' hockey program was small, requiring that teams be made up players from all age groups in order to field complete rosters. Now, skipping Bantam entirely, she first played senior hockey with the Newton Brook Saints. She was 13, playing against women 16 and older. The Saints were a senior C team, the fourth highest level of women's hockey in the Toronto area at the time. Now, focus on hockey. Exposed to drugs and alcohol and frequently get into fights, James paid little attention to her education and nearly dropped out of school. However, a vice principal at Valley Park Middle School, Ross Dixon, encouraged her to pay greater attention to her studies, allowing her to graduate from Orillia High School, now named the Mark Garneau Collegiate Institute, and she moved on to Seneca College in Toronto. James did struggle academically in her first year at Seneca, partially because she had rarely been held accountable for failing in her studies in the past, and partly because she was playing two sports at both the college and community level while working part-time jobs to help pay the family's bills. Seneca's hockey coach, Lee Trempe, had several arguments with James before she began to take her studies seriously. Now, again, a two-sport star for the Seneca Scouts, she joined the softball team in '83, playing the outfield and batting cleanup. She was an Ontario Colleges Athletic Association All-Star and led her squad to inaugural OCAA women's softball title. She was named an OCC All-Star again in '84 and '85, leading Seneca to another provincial championship and a silver medal. Though James always played forward in the community hockey leagues, Trempe converted her to defense so that she can set up the plays and incorporate her teammates in the offensive system the team used. Despite the change of position, she still led the league in scoring in '83 with 15 goals and 10 assists in 8 games. She was named the OCAA's most valuable player, but Seneca settled for the silver medal after losing the finals. Now leading the OCAA with 30 points in 10 games in '84, she carried Seneca to its first championship. She was named an All-Star in defense and again voted MVP. James won both awards again the following season. Seneca repeated as champions in '85, while James dominated the OCAA. Alarm! Food! She again led the league in scoring, setting school and association records with 50 goals and 73 points in just 14 games. Again, this is where the Gretzky connection came. Her scoring exploits led a Toronto reporter, I think it was Globe and Mail, to call James the Wayne Gretzky of women's hockey. Now, the OCA named James its Athlete of the Year in both '84 and '85 for exploits in hockey and softball. She set OCAA career hockey records of 80 goals and 128 points, which stood true to '89 when the OCAA disbanded its women's hockey program due to lack of competing teams. Seneca eventually retired her jersey number 8 in 2001. She was inducted in the Seneca Varsity Hall of Fame in '85, and in 2004 received the Seneca College Distinguished Alumni Award. Now, after 1 year of senior C hockey, she moved up to the Toronto Islanders in 1980, a senior AA team in a newly founded Central Ontario Women's Hockey League. The association was at the highest level of women's hockey in Southern Ontario at the time, and she established herself as one of the league stars within one campaign. She played in the first women's national title event in '82, scoring the title goal, the tying goal in the third, en route to a 3-time overtime victory over Team Alberta to win what was then the McTeer Cup. When the Islanders folded in '82, she moved to Burlington, where she stayed for 3 seasons with the team there. In '83, she led her new squad to the national title as Burlington captured the inaugural Abby Hoffman Cup. For James, appearances in the Women's Nationals were nearly an annual event, as she played in 12 national title events. Now, James changed teams frequently, moving for a variety of reasons. She often changed squads to follow friends, or if she did not agree with the coach's philosophy. Sometimes she moved out of necessity, such as if the team ceased operations. She left Burlington 85 to join Lee Trempe with the Agincourt Canadiens for 1 year, then played with the Brampton Canadettes for another. In 87, she again followed Trempe to the Mississauga Warriors, where she stayed for 3 seasons. Now, she won her first of 7 consecutive COWHL scoring total titles that year, then was loaned to the Hamilton Golden Hawks for the 87 Women's Nationals and helped lead the team to victory. Now, changing squads again, she joined the Toronto Arrows in 89. The Arrows had formed in 74 as an outgrowth of the Annunciation team she played with as a child. She led the squad to 2 national titles in 91-93. In the first, she scored the only goal against future national teammate Manon Rhéaume, the first female minor pro goalie in history, in a 1-0 victory over Team Quebec. In the 94 season, she scored 40 goals and 70 points in 28 games. She continued to switch teams, joining the Toronto Red Wings Newton Brook Panthers franchise for a couple of campaigns before rejoining the Arrows in 97. She remained with the team as was rebranded the Beatrice Arrows in 98 and joined the newly formed National Women's Hockey League. Now, James scored 38 goals and 55 points in the inaugural NWHL season of 99 and was named the league's most valuable player. The following season, she was named the Western Division's best forward and on its first All-Star squad. The Arrows won their first NWHL title, dominating the St. Julie Panthers in the final. Also OWHA champions, the Arrows captured the Women's Nationals against Team Quebec. Once the season was over, she retired from competitive hockey in 2000. Now, on the international level, this gets quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. The Ontario Women's Hockey Association hosted the first Women's Worlds in 87. The event was not sanctioned by the IAAHF. It featured 6 teams, while several nations sent observers. Team Canada was represented by national champion the Hamilton Golden Hawks, with whom James had played in the national tournament, while Team Ontario was represented by her usual club team in Mississauga. While she was eligible to play with either squad in the tournament, she suited up with her usual Mississauga team. She led Team Ontario throughout, and after a 5-2 semifinal win over the United States, played for the title against Team Canada. Team Canada defeated James's Team Ontario 4-0 in the final. Now, the IIHF sanctioned the first official Women's Worlds in 1990 in Ottawa, the famous pink jersey event. Now, Canada and the United States easily dispatched their European rivals to reach the gold medal final, which Canada won 5-2. She scored the first goal in the tournament's history and 11 overall. She tied American Cindy Curley for the tournament lead, which, along with the USA's Chrissy Wendell in 2000, stands as the record for most goals by one player in one tournament through 2012. Now, James did appear in 3 additional Worlds, all 3 of which were won by Canada over the States. She was named an All-Star forward at the 92 tournament in Tampere, where Canada won with an 8-0 victory. The Americans provided a stronger challenge at the 84 tournament in Lake Placid. James scored 2 goals and was named the game's MVP in the 6-3 win. She won her 4th and final Worlds in 97, a 4-3 overtime victory. Now, reflecting the growth of the game, the 98 Nagano Games featured the first women's Olympic hockey tournament. The announcement of Canada's first Olympic team on December 9th, however, 97, brought a storm of controversy. Head coach Shannon Miller left James off the roster, telling the press that the 32-year-old James was a defensive liability and suggesting she was not a team player. James was devastated at being cut and enraged by Miller's explanations. Stated she had been treated like a dog and set up and cheated by Miller, she appealed the decision to Hockey Canada. James also argued Miller's criticisms were unjustified and that the coach had previously maintained she was playing well. She was the national team's leading goal scorer in prelim games that led up to the national team camp. Now, according to other published reports, Miller didn't want her there because she felt she was too old. So, she was getting discrimination because she was black, and now it was because of her age. Not because she was black, they felt she was too old. And a lot of people felt that the 98 loss was due to the fact James was not there. Now, at the time of the appeal, rumors surfaced that Miller was having an affair with one of her players. While the allegations were unfounded, their timing resulted in James being falsely accused of being their source. Hockey Canada officials determined that the rumors were started by a third party attempting to create controversy, and of course, in any sport, you can't sleep with your players. They also rejected James's appeal, ending her Olympic dream. Neither her teammates nor her opponents could understand how she was left off the squad. Canada and the United States met in the final as expected, but it was the States who emerged victorious. Having already defeated Canada 7-4 in the preliminaries, the Americans won the gold with a 3-1 victory. Former teammates argued that James could have made a difference for Canada had she been included. Now, at the time, James was suffering from effects of undiagnosed grave disease, a thyroid condition that resulted in suffering massive weight loss and fatigue, which appeared throughout that camp. She learned of and was treated for a condition following the Olympics, recovering lost weight and strength. The national team, under new coach, did add James back to roster for the 99 Tri Nations Cup. She was used sparingly, but accepted a diminished role with the squad. Now, during the tournament, James made the decision that would be her last with the Team Canada. Her international career ended in storybook fashion, as during the title game against the States, it went to a shootout. Selected as a first shooter, she scored a winning goal to lead Canada to a 3-2 victory. She played in 50 games for Team Canada that year, scoring 33 goals and 21 assists. Now, like I said, a lot of people compare her to Gretzky, but I saw a little bit of Sittler and Mike Gartner in her. Women's hockey historian Elizabeth E. Chu attributed James' success to her skating strength and dynamic bullet-like shot. She was a physical player who helped the women's game overcome a reputation that it was not a sport where the players were willing to play a gritty, tough style. And of course, body checking is really not allowed in women's hockey. Now, opponents claim running into James was like hitting steel. CBC commentator Robin Brown, who played against James in the OWHA, said of her, she could do it all. She had end-to-end speed, she had finesse of a stick handler, and her slap shot was harder and more accurate than any female player I have ever seen. She was a pure goal scorer like Bossy and aggressive like Messi. In her prime, she was referred again to as the Wayne Gretzky of women's hockey. Capable of playing any position, James was primarily a center during his senior career, but excelled on defense. In one game where the team was without a goaltender, she played the position and recorded a shutout. Now, she has been active in many areas in hockey. She gained accreditation as a referee in 1980 and has been an active official since. As a referee in the Senior D women's game in 86, however, she was involved in an altercation with a player that resulted in the skater becoming the first woman banned for life from the OWHA. The player had become upset at a penalty. James assessed, shoving a linesman and punched her. James ultimately gained Level 4 certification through Hockey Canada and served as the OWHA's referee-in-chief. Now, upon her graduation from Seneca, she took up coaching, serving first as an AC. She helped Seneca win the Ontario College Championship, its third consecutive title. The school repeated as champions in 87 with James as the head coach. She has coached at all age levels of the game, including at the national level. She was an assistant with the gold medal winning Team Ontario at the 99 Canada Winter Games and led Ontario to a gold medal at the 2001 Under-18 Nationals. Prior to the 2011 CWHL season, she was named the Brampton Thunder head coach, but finding responsibilities too time-consuming, she stepped down in December 2010. She believes she can offer the most at grassroots levels of any sport and has operated a Boner hockey school and directed one organized through Seneca. Now, on June 24, 2021, the Toronto Six and the Premier Hockey Federation added James to her coaching staff as an AC, and she served that role for the 2022 season. Now, on March 7, 2022, she became co-owner of the Toronto Six of the PHF after joining an ownership group comprising BIPOC Canadian hockey leaders, including herself, Anthony Stewart, Bernice Carnegie of the impressive Carnegie family, and of course Teddy Nolan, one of the best Aboriginal hockey coaches in history. Now, on May 31st, 2022, she was named GM of the Six, succeeding Christy Clark. Her new role with the team involves managing player activities, team operations and logistics, as well as game day event management, including selling tickets, which she will take charge of and report to the team's new ownership group. Now, according to Bob Nicholson, President and CEO of Hockey Canada at the time, she is a women's hockey hero who continues to inspire young players across the country. For me, again, she will always be the Wayne Gretzky of women's hockey. Now, a lot of people consider her and Wickenheiser pretty well brought the women's game into mainstream. Longtime women's hockey administrator Fran Ryder stated that James brought credibility without which the women's game would never have gained recognition as an Olympic sport. Now, an 8-time scoring champion and 6-time MVP during his senior career, James has been honored by several organizations. She was named Toronto's Youth of the Year in 85 and was presented the city's Women in Sport Enhancement Award in 92. Hockey Canada named her the 2005 recipient of its Female Hockey Breakthrough Award. The Flemington Park Arena was renamed the Angela James Arena in 2009, and the Canadian Women's Hockey League presents the Angela James Bowl to its leading scorer each season. She is again inducted in several Hall of Fames, as well as the Ontario Colleges Athletic Association Hall of Fame and the Black Hockey and Sports Hall of Fame in 2006. Now, reflecting her role as a pioneer of the sport, she was one of the first 3 women, along with Geraldine Heaney and Cammie Granado of the States, to be inducted in the IIHF Hall of Fame. They were enshrined in 2008 as part of the association's 100th anniversary celebrations. Now, Canada Sports Hall of Fame hailed her as a role model upon inducting her in 2009. 1 year later, she joined Granado as the first 2 women inducted in the HHOF. James described being informed of the election as a day she never thought would happen, adding, "I'm really honored to represent the female hockey players from all around the world." Now, in a late announcement, which I don't understand why it took so long, February 26, 2001, she was inducted to the Order of Canada by Hockey Canada in recognition of her career and contributions to the game in Canada. Now, on a personal level, after earning a diploma in recreation facilities management from Seneca, she was hired by the school as a sports programmer in 1985. She continues to work for Seneca, is now a senior sports coordinator at its King campus. Now, when she came out as a teen at an early age, she eventually met her partner, Angie, in 1994, and the couple essentially formalized a relationship and a commitment ceremony 2 years later. The beautiful couple have 3 children, and Angie carried her first child, Christian, in 1999, and then gave birth to fraternal twins, son Michael and daughter Tony, in 2004. Definitely a strong family unit, of course, very supportive of each other. Now, just in rough stats, 3 years with Seneca College, the best campaign in 85, 50 goals, 23 assists, 73 points, and on the COWHL level, North York, she had 16 goals in 93, 30 in 94. With the Red Wings for Toronto, 35 goals in 29 games in 96. Newton Brook Panthers in 97, 29 goals. 98, again, the big 7 goals with the national team. And the Beatrice Arrows, 36 and 32. OCA totals, 80 goals in 32 games. COWHL totals, 116 goals in 117 games. And NWHL, or National Women's Hockey League, 58 goals and 99 points in 58 games. So her campaign for Canada over 3 world championships and 4 world championships and major events. Best campaign, of course, 1990, 11 goals in 5 games, 13 points. 35 goal games for Team Canada at the elite level, world championships and otherwise. 26 goals, 20 assists, 46 points with 20 minutes and penalties. And ladies and gentlemen, we talk about Jackie Robinson in the States. We talk about all the determination that it took. The battle she had personally, and because of the color of her skin, can't really be gauged at a level that can be touched in one podcast. Only the people that played with Angela and benefited from her coaching and her talent can tell better. But Angela, for the most part, has 2 words come in: strength and survivor. When I heard about Angela James and some of the details about what it was like, it was almost like she took the burdens of everybody in women's hockey that needed to be taken by somebody, and she broke through so many doors. There would be no Haley Wickenheiser and the rest of the Team Canada players. There would no great USA Team Canada rivalry were it not for Angela James. And she did it basically 4 years ahead of her time, and now most young players growing up, female hockey players, she is the icon, and people don't know about them. So if you're a female hockey player, listen to this podcast. If this is the first time you're hearing Angela James, research her on YouTube, different places, they learn more. Angela James, maybe down the road she's going to be Governor General of Canada, I don't know. I think is deserving. But more people should recognize what Angela James meant, because I saw her in her prime, and there's only one player at the time that was better than Angela James, consistently at the world level and everything else. It was Gretzky.
But unlike Gretzky, Gretzky had somebody to play with. Angela James didn't have a Messier or an Anderson or a Paul Coffey, a Yuri Curry. In some cases, it was herself and one or two defensemen or one or two forwards, and she put the goals in net. And she would have scored more if she wouldn't be on defense. But she was the quarterback on defense, but on the forward lines. And it was sneaky. Well, do you call that in our sport when you see someone with the puck, people backed up? The Montreal Canadiens were like that. You saw Lafleur, Lemaire, Schutt, whoever it was. The opposing team would back up. Angela James had the puck. She was always doing something with it. She was passing or making a great shot. But Angela James, again, a top 10 hockey player definitely of the last 25 years, and maybe a top 20 Canadian athlete of the late 80s into the early 2000s. She wasn't a 2000 athlete that's like 1980s, 1990s. Definitely a top 20 of that era. And there's a lot of good people out there too. But ladies and gentlemen, that 98 bullshit, the drama there, I still don't know what I can say that doesn't one-hit libel for me. Because I don't know exactly if half the rumors were true. I was told by a member of the media, the coaching staff told them, and they told me that they felt the team was too old. Sadler Howard and a few other people. But since when is 32 old? I'm 57. You're telling me I'm too old to do this podcast? You're never too old. She could probably still play now if she wasn't too busy doing 4,000 things she does on a basic weekend. So if you like what you're doing with our vintage hockey podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget, hockey is only as good as your last shift. And Angela James can tell you that. Leave it all on the ice. Like, comment, subscribe, or share, or super chat. Thanks for listening, and have a good day. Bye.